有形尘土傍身，降魂护体。
罗夫人，这是最后一天。
可势力蠢蠢欲动，想着瓜分罗家地盘。接下来就交给我吧。告诉你们的家主践踏王，若不给我一个完美答复，我不介意让他陨落。
In episode 197 of Swallowed Star, Luo Feng's long journey of endurance and pain finally reaches a turning point. After an unimaginable 6,000 years of soul torment, he at last succeeds in fully recognizing the Star Tower as his own. This moment isn't just another power-up, it's the awakening of a cosmic force that changes Luo Feng's destiny forever. Just as the Star Tower's brilliance settles, a familiar yet awe-inspiring figure appears before him, the mountain guest himself. Calm and dignified, the mysterious being officially accepts Luo Feng as his third disciple, and for the first time, reveals the deep secrets behind the Star Tower's origin and power. But once the ceremony is complete, the mountain guest departs without a trace, disappearing once again into the endless void, leaving Luo Feng alone after more than 6,000 years of isolation. When Luo Feng finally returns to the virtual universe, he's greeted by an overwhelming sight. Countless messages, overflowing his inbox. Most of them are from his family, and just from his wife, Su Xian alone, there are 38,000 emails. Each one a quiet echo of the years gone by. As Luo Feng opens a few, he can feel the weight behind her words, her sadness, her longing, and her unshakable faith that he would return one day. It turns out that before his long inheritance began, Luo Feng had already predicted that it might last for thousands of years. So he had preset a farewell message to automatically send, explaining his possible absence. But that same message made his family believe he had fallen into grave danger, maybe even perished. Realizing how much pain he had caused them, Luo Feng decides to postpone responding to his teacher's invitation. Instead, he immediately heads home, back to Jiuxing Bay on Hailongshan Island, the heart of the Luo family. There, at his old villa, he spots his eldest son Luo Ping sitting alone on the grass, drinking endlessly, his expression lost and heavy. This was the same Luo Ping who had always been calm and composed, the pillar of the family. Yet now he looked utterly broken. The moment Luo Feng appeared, Luo Ping froze, then rushed forward and embraced his father tightly. Through the tears and relief, he began to explain what had happened. Ever since that farewell message arrived, the Luo family had been under immense pressure. Although they didn't believe Luo Feng was truly dead, his message saying he might not return for 10,000 years or even longer forced the family to prepare for the worst. Luo Ping took charge, reinforcing the clan's management and imposing stricter discipline across every branch. But decades ago, things took a turn for the worse. A dispute broke out between the Luo family and the Ross family of the Jinlan Universe Kingdom. At first it was minor, but it slowly escalated into something far more serious. The Ross family had powerful backing. Their patriarch Jian Ta Wang was a king-level immortal, and his master, a universe venerable. They had even tried reaching out to Luo Feng through the virtual universe to settle things peacefully. But since Luo Feng hadn't logged in for over 6,000 years, they received no answer. That silence sparked rumors, whispers spreading across the virtual cosmos, that perhaps Luo Feng had truly perished. And the Ross family decided to take advantage of it, testing the waters to see if the stories were true. When Luo Ping revealed this, Luo Feng's expression instantly darkened. Without hesitation, he ordered his son to bring him to Su Xian, who was currently leading the negotiations herself. Inside the meeting hall, Su Xian stood composed yet weary, representing the Luo family's dignity against the Ross envoy. The opposing side was unyielding, even giving a final deadline for the Luo family to accept their harsh terms. Su Xian knew very well, if they yielded now, those rumors of Luo Feng's death would only spread further, and the Luo family's standing would crumble completely. Just then, the doors burst open, and Luo Feng stepped inside. The entire hall froze as his overwhelming aura swept through the room. Even without saying a word, that pressure alone made the Ross envoys tremble. Luo Feng fixed his gaze directly on them and spoke in an icy tone, questioning how a mere king-level immortal like Jian Ta Wang dared to provoke the Luo family. Was someone backing them from the shadows? His voice carried a quiet, terrifying authority. He warned them to return and deliver a message. They had better give him a perfect explanation, or else, Jian Ta Wang would perish, and the entire Ross family would vanish from existence. The Ross envoys were so terrified they didn't even dare argue. Bowing repeatedly, they retreated in haste. As silence returned to the room, Su Xian could no longer hold back her emotions. Tears welled up in her eyes as she whispered, "It's good that you're back. Luo Feng smiled softly and pulled her into a quiet embrace. In that moment, no words were needed. They both understood the years of pain and endurance they had each suffered. She had borne the burden of the family alone, while he had endured endless torment for the sake of strength. After some time, they turned their talk back to the Ross family's situation. Su Xian analyzed calmly. Since the Luo family's patriarch was a direct disciple of the Lord of Chaos City, they were usually treated with utmost respect. But since the rumors of Luo Feng's death had spread, the Ross family's attitude had changed. They were pressing harder, trying to test the truth. Though they hadn't yet gone too far, this was clearly beyond normal negotiation tactics. Luo Feng nodded. He agreed that Jian Ta Wang must have been influenced by someone else, someone probing to see if Luo Feng was truly alive. Su Xian worried aloud that perhaps even alien forces might be involved behind the scenes. Before Luo Feng could act on it, a sudden summons arrived. The Lord of Chaos City was calling for him urgently. Bidding his wife a brief farewell, Luo Feng teleported straight to Thunder Island. There, amidst the palace shrouded in chaotic mist, the Lord of Chaos City welcomed his disciple with rare warmth. He was clearly relieved to see Luo Feng safe and sound, and immediately sensed how much stronger he had become over these 6,000 years. Not only had Luo Feng's consciousness and willpower reached a new level, but he had also achieved teleportation, a sign of extraordinary mastery. When Luo Feng reported that his comprehension of the laws had already reached the 20th level of the Tongtian Bridge, even the Lord of Chaos City was impressed. He praised Luo Feng's progress, saying it rivaled the greatest geniuses in human history. But there was a problem. Rumors about Luo Feng's death were still spreading. To crush those doubts once and for all, the Chaos City Lord suggested Luo Feng should challenge the primordial Tongtian Mountain, proving his strength to the entire human race. Success would silence all speculation and deter alien forces from acting recklessly. The Chaos City Lord also explained that he had already arranged an alternate identity for Luo Feng, that of the mysterious Blade River King. With this dual identity, Luo Feng could safely move between the Hong Alliance and his personal missions without revealing his true self. Curious about Luo Feng's growing power, the Chaos City Lord asked how he had managed to wield the Yen Xin clan armor and even kill an immortal king. Luo Feng honestly explained that his mastery came from becoming a black warrior on the Yanji continent, and that the immortal king's death was achieved using a combination of his armor's killing wings and Fei Mo's deadly venom. At the mention of black warrior, the usually composed Chaos City Lord was visibly stunned. Then, with clear delight, he exclaimed, "Good." Not once, but 3 times in a row. For someone like the Chaos City Lord, that level of praise was nearly unheard of. It made Luo Feng realize just how significant the title of Black Warrior really was, far beyond just a 10-fold genetic enhancement. Perhaps it held a deeper meaning for the entire human race. The Chaos City Lord warned him to keep that identity secret and then asked when he intended to break through to immortality. Luo Feng explained that he wasn't ready yet. First, he wanted to explore the cosmic secret realms to find the right materials for nurturing his golden-horned beast's 3rd clone. Once he became immortal, that chance would be gone forever. The Chaos City Lord, understanding his logic, still suggested that immortality would make such adventures far safer. Luo Feng, however, explained that the special life-form remains he needed were almost impossible to find in any treasure vault or through the Hong Alliance. They could only be obtained by risking everything in those dangerous secret realms. Finally, his teacher nodded and simply told him to act within his means. After leaving the palace, Luo Feng carried 2 boxes of fine fruit wine and paid a visit to his old teacher, King Zhenyan. Sitting together by the sea, master and disciple shared a relaxed, heartfelt drink, reminiscing about the past. During their conversation, Luo Feng mentioned a treasure he had acquired on the outer battlefield, the purple bell, and offered it to his teacher. King Zhenyan laughed heartily, clearly pleased by his student's thoughtfulness, but declined the gift with a smile. He said he had no need for such a treasure, as it didn't suit his cultivation path, and told Luo Feng to keep it for himself. As Luo Feng and his teacher King Zhenyan shared their wine by the sea, their talk gradually turned to the matter still weighing on Luo Feng's mind, the Ross family, and the trouble stirred up by Jian Ta Wang, the so-called Sword King. When Luo Feng explained the whole situation, King Zhenyan merely smiled faintly. In his eyes, Jian Ta Wang was nothing more than a newly promoted king-level immortal, someone hardly worth worrying about. Even if the Sword King had a universe venerable backing him, no sane person would dare provoke the personal disciple of the Chaos City Lord. Both master and disciple knew there had to be more to this story. The timing, the audacity, it all pointed to the same root cause, those spreading rumors of Luo Feng's death. King Xinyan advised Luo Feng that if needed, he shouldn't hesitate to make an example. Sometimes only decisive force could silence doubters. Luo Feng then mentioned that the Chaos City Lord himself had suggested he challenge the primal Tongtian Mountain, the Realm Lord level trial. Hearing that, King Xinyan's eyes lit up with pride. Knowing his disciple had already reached the 20th level of the Tongtian Bridge filled him with satisfaction. The two continued to drink and laugh together, the evening calm and full of mutual respect. Yet beneath that easy conversation, Luo Feng's mind was already working. He would delay conquering Tongtian Mountain until after returning from the outer battlefield, but the Sword King matter couldn't wait. It had to be ended quickly and cleanly, to remind every faction in the universe of one thing: the Luo family was not to be provoked. Just then, Babata's voice chimed in. Luo Feng had received an email from the Sword King himself. The message was an apology, requesting to meet him in person at Jiuxing Bay. Luo Feng only smirked. He wasn't in a hurry. Instead of rushing off, he poured himself another drink and decided to let the king-level immortal wait. At that very moment, in the Luo family mansion at Jiuxing Bay, the Sword King sat quietly in a modest tea pavilion. The tea before him had long since gone cold. For someone of his rank, such treatment was practically an insult, but he didn't utter a single complaint. He waited in silence, knowing he had overstepped his bounds. After reuniting briefly with his family, Luo Feng finally appeared. The moment the Sword King saw him, he rose and bowed deeply, admitting he had come to apologize. He explained that the Ross family's affairs had long been managed by his 7th-generation descendant, while he himself had been immersed in cultivation and unaware of the growing conflict. When he returned and learned of the mess, he confronted his descendant, but the younger man only gave a strange smile before revealing what had truly happened. It seemed that ordinary immortals within the family had been influenced, perhaps even controlled, by an alien race, using the Ross family as a pawn to test whether Luo Feng had really fallen. Having said his piece, the Sword King respectfully presented a detailed list of compensation to make amends. Luo Feng listened without emotion. His tone was cold, his gaze sharp. Whatever excuses they had, it didn't matter. The Ross family had dared to offend him, and now they would pay. He tossed a scroll onto the table and said flatly, "Agree to these terms." The Sword King picked it up, glanced through the list, and went pale. Luo Feng's conditions were merciless. The Ross family would hand over 99% of their total assets, leaving only 1% for their survival. Every family member involved in the dispute would be surrendered to the Luo family for punishment. On top of that, they would pay a staggering 1 billion chaos units in cash. It was absolute ruin. The Sword King tried to reason with him, but Luo Feng's face didn't change. His voice was ice. There would be no negotiation. They had 7 days to gather the payment, and the asset transfer had to be completed within half a day. When he left the Luo family mansion, the Sword King's composure finally cracked. Sitting alone in his hall, he felt both anger and regret. He had thought that allowing his family to test the Luo family would be a small risk, an easy way to earn favor and maybe 100 million chaos units in profit. But Luo Feng's return turned that small gamble into disaster. The loss now threatened to crush everything he had built. He knew Luo Feng hadn't killed him outright only because of his own master, Venerable Jinlan. Yet this financial punishment was nearly worse than death. He would rather forfeit all his assets than part with 1 billion chaos units in cash. When word of Luo Feng's demands spread, the entire Ross family was thrown into panic, and the universe took notice. Many forces whispered the same thing. Luo Feng was back, and he was ruthless. After spending 3 quiet days with his family in the virtual universe, Luo Feng departed once more for the extraterritorial battlefield. Within the Star Tower's majestic core hall, he summoned his loyal soul servant, Heavy Arrow King. His first question was about the Heavenly Array King, the one who had once framed him. Heavy Arrow King reported that the culprit was still alive, hiding his identity and remaining untouched. Luo Feng wasn't surprised. He knew the man was cautious, always scheming from the shadows. Through the Star Tower's vast perception, Luo Feng discovered that the Heavenly Array King had left the area nearly 1800 years ago. Even though the Star Tower had lost its home field advantage after being moved, Luo Feng refused to abandon the hunt. He decided to gather intel from their mutual contacts before making his next move. But before chasing that enemy, Luo Feng wanted to take full advantage of the Star Tower's unique power. As its master, he could now freely choose his opponents and shape the battlefield itself, meaning no enemy could ever escape once caught inside. It was the perfect opportunity to capture more king-level soul servants. He began scanning through targets, finally locking onto one name, the Black Crow King of the Demon Clan, a peak-level soul master known for his vicious mind power. In a vast snow-covered forbidden zone, the Black Crow King waited alongside two other peak king-class experts from the Kujayahu clan. When a spatial rift tore open before them, they saw a silver-armored, silver-winged figure step out, the legendary Blade River King himself. The atmosphere turned electric. Though wary, the Black Crow King refused to retreat. He ordered his Kujayahu allies to hold off Heavy Arrow King while he personally faced Luo Feng. Their killing intent collided in the air. Battle was about to erupt. Then, Luo Feng calmly lifted his left hand. In his palm appeared 6 black orbs, rotating slowly like miniature stars. It was his newest treasure, the star chart. As snow and energy swirled around him, Luo Feng's eyes gleamed coldly. This would be his first test, to unleash the star chart's true power, and to measure just how terrifying his strength had become since mastering the star tower.